My mother is ridden with delusion, but feels entitled to my time and energy. For context, my narcissist mom is 52. I am 20 and living in the south of the US. This is as much detail as I will provide in regards to my identity. My parents have been divorced since I was 4. My dad is also a confirmed narcissist/alcoholic, relevant later, but this story isn't really about him. I opted out of staying at my father's house for 3 days a week when I was 13 after enduring lifelong abuse in all forms from him. I have not contacted him since. Narcissist mom was married to my stepdad since she divorced my bio father, though they were together before the divorce. They were married for 14 years and had a kid together, LB, who is now 16. They were off and on through their entire relationship, but last year around June they separate for good. One day, my mother was not at the house anymore without her or anyone else telling me where she was or why she was gone. Apparently, she had moved to an adjacent state to be with a new man, leaving me to live with my stepfather and great-aunt in the house they had all bought together. My great-aunt had sold her house to move into this new one about 3 years ago, with us after countless promises from NM that we would all hang out together and be one big happy family. This was not true. I also had to take the brunt of my stepfather's anger and heartbreak after my mother left, as I'm sure he saw my mother in me. My mother has BPD and manic depression, which affected me in ways I didn't begin to understand until 16. I suppose I was too in denial due to still being in mourning over the loss of a father figure, albeit a terrible one, that I was unwilling to accept that my mother too was absent or flawed in ways that she criticized my father for being. She was always either in bed or working from when I was 6 to 12. She worked hard, which is something I will give her credit for, but I do not think it cancels out the absence and neglect. Additionally, from the ages of 16 to 19, I was a dysfunctional alcoholic. I have since sought counseling and found a sponsor, just hit 6 months sober. She uses this against me a lot, as you will see in the messages I will link at the end. While in active addiction, abusing any hard substance I could get my hands on, I was a manipulative and terrible person. I spent a lot of her money on this credit card she gave me and was just generally reckless and irresponsible. I apologized. She gave me a set amount of money to pay her back, and I did. But every time she's upset with me, in typical narcissistic fashion, she throws it back in my face. I foolishly told her how unfair and upsetting this was, so now she does it even more, as you will see. Not only that, but she has compared me to my father for my whole life. At first, it broke my heart and filled me with tremendous guilt. Over time, I learned that this was just another in a long string of manipulation tactics, and I stopped letting it affect me so much. It still hurt, as did every time she screamed at me and then consoled me to regain her control, but I stopped letting her see how much she was hurting me. I stopped telling her what was going on in my life because I didn't like her judgment or even talking to her at all. Her oldest son, OB, 28, moved to the northern US 4.5 years ago with his wife and his daughter. At the time, NM was inconsolable, saying how his wife was brainwashing him and he was abandoning NM, taking away her grandchildren, etc. Well, about a week ago, I reached out to him, saying how much I love him and I miss him and I hope he and his family are well. I broke the silence between us because we were estranged, and I kept thinking about how I couldn't go any longer without telling him that I love him. He told me he had been silent for so long because he was told by NM that everyone over here is angry with him for leaving. That was never true, and I told him that. He also told me that he needed to get his children and himself away from my mother by moving and limiting contact. This confirmed what I already knew, and it was comforting to know that at least one of my siblings not only saw how she really was but got out the other side okay. I don't know how she found out, probably through my little brother who is still under her control and lives with her for a majority of the week, but that doesn't really matter to me. Anything LB says in her defense, as I know from experience, is his way of trying to maintain some peace and stability in his life in the only way he knows how, by not making her upset. I keep telling him that he can talk to me about anything and that I love him so much. I'm confident that once he goes to college, he will be far enough away from her to realize how horrible she really is. I have weekly meetings with my therapist, and my session is tonight. I am actually excited to delve into all of this with her. For the first time in my life, I am proud of myself for how far I have come. I've struggled with SI my whole life, requiring 6 hospitalizations, but I noticed the other day that I haven't felt that depressed in months. I've gotten to the point where I no longer actively seek chaos and instability because I'm bored. I have a stable job, and I'm paying my way through college. Every time she messages me with some BS, however, I am split into two. There is a part of me that knows she will never change, and I laugh at her transparent guilt trips, but there's also a little part of me that is sent back to the mental state of when I was a child and wanted desperately for her approval. I still love her, despite all of the things she has put me through. I just want her to be different. I want her to go to counseling with me, like I have been begging her to do for half a year now. My question to everyone who has a mother like this: where do I go from here? When is the time to stop trying to amend this relationship? If I cut ties with her completely, what steps do I need to take to move on from the guilt and the anger that coincides with the sporadic positive memories? Any advice, kind words, or constructive criticism would be appreciated. I know that in the text thread I was very harsh, but I am fed up and sick of coddling her in order to keep the peace. She makes it so hard to be cordial, but every time I snap, she finds a way to dismiss herself of all of her faults. For now, I plan on communicating only through text so I have exact documentation of everything she is saying to me, and also only responding with, "Let me know when you make that therapy appointment. I will talk to you then." I'm not giving her any more fuel, I know better than that. TLDR, my narcissistic mother has been manipulating, neglecting, and abusing me for my whole life. She messed up for the last time, and now I cannot stand her. I've been begging her to go to counseling for 6 months to pick up the pieces of our relationship, but she has refused, saying I am threatening her with abandonment and resentment.
$10 buyout to take away prying eyes. I was playing on my Switch when my brother got home from school. He walks down the road and enters the house like normal or whatever, and I greet him with a "Sup? Got any fruit?" And we do whatever we need to. He usually calls Mom to let her know he's safe and goes on his phone for a bit before going and taking a bath. He went into the bathroom before Mom came into the house as he was going to take his bath. I greet Mom at the door. If I didn't, she'll be pissed that I'm paying attention to my phone more than her and will not want to hug or kiss me. And if I don't immediately try to come to her after she's already upset, she grounds us, takes phones and games, and even threatens to turn the phone plan off so we won't be so consumed in our phones. Mom does whatever she needs to, and that's it. But then I hear some commotion from the bathroom. My mom had opened the door to the bathroom, knowing well that he was in there. He was taking off his clothes, and he had stopped because she obviously opened the door. He told her to get out, and she was pestering him, and then he said, "If you get out, I'll pay you $10. I'll give it to you right now, just go." And he gave her the $10 bill. She left as she came and the door closed. He said, "She was watching me undress, so I gave her $10 to stop." The watching us undress thing is an odd situation because it doesn't happen all the time, but sometimes we'll be undressing and she'll just open the door and sit on the toilet using it. Sometimes she wouldn't even watch us. She'll just mind her own business. We surprisingly don't get in trouble for telling her to get out because we, obviously, don't like being naked in front of other people, not even our own doctors. It's not like I'm a minor or anything now, but it's still weird. Me, 18 bro, 16. And my mom claims for it to be her house. Although my grandfather owns the house, he owns multiple houses and just let us live in this one because he's going and living with his girlfriend. And she openly walks around in nothing but a bra and underwear. Sometimes she wears dresses, like sleeping dresses, and it's fine, but she doesn't usually have anything on under there. She'll be laying across the bed and I'll go in there and pull her dress down because I don't want to see it. She claims to do whatever she wants in her house all the time and pretty much does. Maybe it's just me, but it can be a little weird sometimes. Abusive mother only cares for her son in front of other people or if he's dying. My former colleague, 24M, who I'm quite close with, claims to have a great relationship with his mom. She's the person he loves the most in the entire world. I got to meet this woman and I have no idea how he thinks that's a great mother-son relationship. She acts all nice in public, but she's the worst with her kids. He told me some terrible stories about his childhood like they were the most normal stuff. Apparently she's been hitting him since he was a newborn and she hurt him pretty badly a few times. She basically left him to take care of his younger sister when he was in preschool and emotionally abused him and made him feel guilty and responsible for everything. He also suffered from severe mental health issues. I wonder why. And guess what she did when she found out he was harming himself? She hit him. The only time she was genuinely nice to him was when he was committed for trying to take his life. She was hugging and cuddling him the whole time and referring to him as her baby. In our language, it's not that common to refer to an adult child as a baby unless they are, dying or dead. He says his hospitalization was the best period of his life because his mom was so nice to him. The worst part is he's kind of the favorite child and the one that gets the best treatment. His sister is completely neglected by their mother. I heard that when she was 15 her soda was spiked at a small high school party. She felt sick, was carried to the hospital by an ambulance, and her mom didn't even pick her up when she got better. She blamed her daughter for what happened.
I hate my life at 16. I feel like nobody gives two shits about me, and I'm so close to just leaving. I turned 16 in March, and I'm still stuck with my mom who just always likes to make me look like I'm the bad guy in front of family and friends. My family doesn't even want to talk to her, or my dad. But basically she got mad at me because she was talking to herself, and I asked her what to her because I thought she was talking to me. We get in this argument because she is offended by me asking her to say it again. Then she just brings up how I will never get a BF/GF, and they will just rate me if I ever had one. And I do everything in the house. I get good grades, but she just thinks I'm the worst human being in the world. And she asked me if I saw her as a narcissist, and of course I had to lie and say no, but of course it's not true. Thank you so much for watching the video. For more video like this, please subscribe.